Tonight's championship game in the 1968 NCAA basketball tournament comes to you from the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, where the Bruins of UCLA meet the Tar Heels of North Carolina for the National Collegiate Crown. Hello, everyone. I'm Frank Sims with Bill Fleming. Bill, this is the culmination of hopes that started back last year for the 1968 championship.
Tonight we're going to see, Frank, I think a basic confrontation between two tournament-tested teams. North Carolina, winners of this tournament back in '57, against the three-time winners, UCLA, and the Bruins hoping to make it two in a row. It should be a great one, considering the defense that both these teams play.
Well, it looks like it's going to be the press of UCLA, and, you know, North Carolina throws a pretty good press, too, Bill.
Ohio State will attest to that. Incidentally, fans, Ohio State defeated Houston just moments ago for third place, 86-82.
Well, I don't know how we're going to pick it. We're just going to have to go along with the nation's #2 team, and they're hollering #1, and I'm sure North Carolina thinks they're #1 tonight, too.
Well, we'll soon know.
So join us now for the 1968 championship game. The North Carolina cheerleaders in front of us. North Carolina and UCLA for the 1968 NCAA basketball championship. And what a game this should be. Let's stand now for the playing of the national anthem.
Now let's have the starting lineup.
North Carolina is scheduled to be introduced first. The Tar Heels during the year won 27 and lost 3, 28 and 3 with their win over Ohio State last night. By the way, in the consolation game, Ohio State defeated Houston 89-85.
Champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference.
The champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Eastern champion, the Tar Heels. And they have brought their rooters here tonight. Number 13, at guard, Dick Rubar, 6'4", 20-year-old junior from Schenectady, New Jersey, 185 pounds. At the other guard, number 33, Charlie Scott, 6'5", 178-pound, 19-year-old sophomore from New York. At center, number 43, Rusty Clark, 6'10", 225-pound, 20-year-old junior from Fayetteville, North Carolina. At the forward, number 31, Bill Bunton, 6'9", 189-pound, 20-year-old junior from New Bern, North Carolina. The All-American, he's a great one, number 44, Larry Miller, 6'4", 215-pound, 21-year-old senior from Cadastra, Pennsylvania.
The coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
And their coach, Dean Smith. Assistant is John Watts. Here are the champions.
The champions of the West.
The champions of the West, last year's NCAA champions, the UCLA Bruins.
Of the University of California at Los Angeles.
And of course, a partisan crowd here at the arena in Los Angeles. Their starting lineup at guard, number 42, Lucius Allen, 6'2", 178 pounds, 20-year-old junior, Kansas City, Kansas. The other guard, the quarterback and the captain, the leader of the club, number 44, Mike Warren, 5'11", 155-pound, 21-year-old senior, South Bend, Indiana. At center, everybody's All-American, last year's Player of the Year, number 33, Lew Alcindor, 7'2", 230 pounds, 20-year-old junior from New York City. At forwards, number 35, Mike Lynn, 6'7", 205 pounds, 22-year-old senior from Covina, California. In the last 4 ball games, he's been outstanding. At the other forward, an outstanding shooter, number 53, Lynn Shackelford, 6'5", 192-pound, 20-year-old junior from Burbank, California. Their coach, John Wooden, assistant is Jerry Norman. And now for the start of the ball game, here's Bill Fleming.
Last night, before a tremendous crowd here in the sports arena, the Bruins of UCLA put on perhaps one of the greatest performances ever seen in collegiate basketball. Coach Dean Smith of North Carolina said he had never seen anything quite like it in all of his experience. And now the question is, can the Bruins repeat what they did last night? Can they beat North Carolina for the championships? And on the other side, Carolina hopes to move in for the second time in history to the throne room of the NCAA. And the tap-off goes to the Bruins, who are taller in the starting lineup, with the tallest man on the court at 7'1½", Lew Alcindor. But overall in height, the Tar Heels have a slight advantage. Here's Lucius Allen with a push shot. It is up and in. And immediately after scoring, UCLA goes in that full court press, trying to put as much pressure on the Tar Heels as they can. But there it's broken, and Bunning goes in, has it blocked away by Alcindor. Out of bounds. The officials tonight are Steve Honzo from the ECAC and Charles Foudy of the Ohio Valley. Larry Miller to take it out of bounds, the young man from Catasauqua, Pennsylvania. Into Rusty Clark, who stands 6'10". There's quite a matchup tonight between Clark and Alcindor. Here's Larry Miller down, has the shot blocked, and a foul is on Alcindor. Although he got the ball cleanly, he moved a hip into Larry Miller. And here is Miller. 22.7 during the regular season. 6'4" senior. 2 shots, and he can tie it. He misses the first one. Still 2-0 UCLA. North Carolina got into the finals by virtue of an 80-66 victory over Ohio State. And that even takes more prestige with it when you realize Ohio State defeated Houston tonight, 89-85 for 3rd place. It's 2-1. This is Mike Warren, who had simply a tremendous performance last night. Rifles it back out to Shackelford, and he lets it go, and it is around and out. Alcindor puts it up short, and this one rolls around off the left side. It goes out of bounds, hit out last by Carolina. And going in is Allen, and he is tripped by Charlie Scott.
Well, the number 33, Charlie Scott, first personal, first team foul by the Tar Heels.
18:53 to go in the first half.
At the free throw line, shooting 1.
6'2" junior from Kansas City. The rebound comes off to Bunning to Charlie Scott. To Rusty Clark. He takes it in, and he travels with the ball.
Moving his steps, walking with the ball.
And now Lucius Allen on the left side. Warren on the right. Warren is picked up by Grubar, and Scott is on Allen. Notice that smothering type of man-to-man defense that Carolina uses. Here's a shot by Alcindor, no good, and Bunning tries to get the rebound, and as he does, he bends over the back of Mike Lynn.
Foul number 31, Bill Bunning, first personal.
Lynn on the line. Lynn had a great game, as did all of the Bruins last night. Certainly a team effort. The starters had 17, 19, 19, 19, and 14. And it's 3-1. Grubar and Scott on the backcourt. This is Larry Miller out at the high post with Rusty Clark moving to the side. Bunning is at the other side, guarded by Mike Lynn. Out to Miller, double teamed, and Allen takes it away and flips it off to Alcindor. The Bruins ahead, 3-1, and they have the ball. Lucius Allen rifles it up there, no good. And the rebound comes off to Shackelford. Tapped away by Grubar. Slides on the court, flips it to Miller. Miller has Bunning ahead of him. He puts it up and in, and it's all time. 3-3. Shackelford had an open shot most of the night last night, and here another interception by the Tar Heels, who have showed superb defense throughout the entire tournament. And as Larry Miller drives in, it's a traveling violation, and it's out of bounds to UCLA. All through the Atlantic Coast Championship, through the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament, through the Eastern Regional, everybody kept saying the Tar Heels are simply one of the great defensive teams of all time. They came and showed it to Ohio State last night. They hope to prove it to UCLA tonight. And an elbowing violation by Mike Lynn. And Steve Hanzo of the ECAC gives the ball out of bounds to Charlie Scott, the first Negro ever to play for the University of North Carolina. He comes from New York City. He prepped at Laurinburg Institute, where he was the valedictorian of his class. An outstanding young man for North Carolina in the backcourt with Dick Grubar. Some interesting matchups, and you're seeing one right now. Scott and Allen. Larry Miller is guarded by Shackelford, who had the job of guarding Elvin Hayes in a somewhat modified zone last night when UCLA annihilated Houston. Rusty Clark playing it cautiously. It's still only 3-3, and 3.5 minutes have gone by. A lot of mutual respect here, individually and collectively. Miller turns and loses the ball. Mike Warren sweeps it up. Lynn drives in and flips it off to Lucius Allen, who just does save it in the corner. 16 minutes to go in the first half from the Sports Arena in Los Angeles, California. And the ball is wildly thrown out of bounds, and the Bruins have a turnover. And right in front of the bench, there's Dean Smith, the brilliant coach of North Carolina, indicating to his men how to play the offensive setup in their game plan. It's 3-3. Inside to Scott. Flips it off to Clark. He has the open shot and misses it. The rebound comes off, and Alcindor eventually gets it. Ahead to Mike Warren, and notice how quickly Grubar covers. Warren on a brilliant maneuver snakes his way into the basket. And as he does, the whistle blows, and it's a foul on UCLA's Mike Lynn. That's the second on him. Third team foul. And with the score tied at 3-3, Rusty Clark is on the line. Rusty is a raw-boned young sophomore last year. Took his team to the semifinals and went down to defeat at the hands of Dayton. At that night, these boys got together, 4 of them on the court right now, and said, it'll never happen again. We'll be back a year from tonight. And that is where we are, a year and a day from that happening. No good. He was in the lane. Somebody from Carolina was in the lane too soon. You can't go up across the lane until the ball touches some part of the basket apparatus. Used to be that you could cross the minute the ball left the foul shooter's hands. Not so anymore. Mike Warren loses it. It's tapped away on a brilliant defensive move by Grubar and picked up immediately by the Tar Heels. Here's Scott flipping it up and in. Great shot by Charlie Scott. Or should we say, great Scott. 5-3. And a foul is going to be on Grubar of the Tar Heels.
The number 13, Dick Grubar, first personal, third team
foul, first personal on him.
Lucius Allen.
And Lucius Allen at the line. Allen and Warren, said to be by many writers who have covered the basketball beat, the two finest guards in college basketball in the entire country. It's 5-4. Carolina ahead of UCLA. Larry Miller double teamed. Always the lurking specter of Lew Alcindor back there. There he is, back defensively. Sitting back there just waiting for somebody to move in. Into Bunting in the left corner. Larry Miller has moved down into the deep spot, and Allen intercepts for UCLA. He's got Warren down deep. Flips it instead off to Shackelford, who shoots and scores. 6-5. 13:50 to go in the first half. And now the question is this a slow up, a freeze up, or simply a maneuver to try to get position on the court? It can't be labeled as a deep freeze just yet. With Miller moving out toward the free throw line. Pass goes into him, drives in, gives to Bunting, and he loses the ball underneath. They got what they wanted, position under the basket, but couldn't put it away. Alcindor, guarded by Clark, puts it up and in. 8-5. Now it's a 3-2 offense as UCLA again sees another type of strategy thrown at them, and the ball is thrown out of bounds as Clark started to move to the baseline. Miller throws it out for the 8th turnover by the Tar Heels, compared to 3 for the Bruins. 12.5 minutes to go in the first half. Inside pass, Shackelford on a nice recover, gives to Alcindor. He shoots, makes it as foul by Bunting. That makes it 10-5, and the Tar Heels want to talk it over. Play is stopped on the court here for Los Angeles Sports Arena, and the score, UCLA 10 and North Carolina 5. In that first ball game, which the fans are still buzzing about, Elvin Hayes snapped back into true form by getting 34 points. Theodis Lee had 27, but Ohio State defeated Houston 89-85, and so Ohio State becomes the third-place team in the NCAA tournament for 1968. And now here is Lew Alcindor, who had really one of the tremendous nights of his career. He's only been on a losing team 7 times in his entire career, dating back to the days at Power Memorial in New York. He makes it 11-5. And a foul is going to be on Mike Warren.
Foul number 44, Mike Warren.
Looks like what Dean Smith did there at the timeout was to talk things over and say, okay, let's get out of that slowdown. Let's play our pace.
North Carolina is using a 2-1-2 offensive alignment. They call it the 4-corner post offense, Bill, and they're putting Miller on that high post in the 2-1-2.
And Dick Grubar puts it in for the 6th Carolina point. UCLA leads 11-6. And the matchup continues with Allen being guarded by Scott. Shot is up and in. Mike Warren playing his final game for UCLA, making it 13-6. Here's Charlie Scott on a break. Alcindor moves in and blocks it out of bounds. Well, that's 3 great blocks for Alcindor so far tonight. Bunting in the corner. A long one from outside is good by Charlie Scott. That's his 5th point, and it's 13-8. Warren goes to the corner and is picked up on the switch by Bunting. Takes the shot, and it is short, and Bunting goes up, taps it off to Larry Miller. A long hook out to Scott. Scott has Bunting on the left. Three men converge, so he takes the shot, misses it. Bunting grabs the rebound. And Carolina controls. Rusty Clark into Bunting. Goes up, shoots, misses, rebound is up, and a foul is going to be called on Mike Lynn.
Number 20, Ed Fogler. Foul by number 35, Mike Lynn, third personal.
That's the third personal on Lynn, and Fogler comes in the lineup for Charlie Scott for Carolina.
Scott for North Carolina. Larry Miller at the free throw line.
Miller on the line. He was all Atlantic Coast Conference 2 years in a row, and that is something with the competition in that league. Named as a All-America this year in his senior year. 13-9. And it makes it 13-10, and Miller has his first 2 points. Nielsen comes in for Mike Lynn, who, as mentioned, has 3 personals on him. Charlie Scott now goes back in for Fogler. Apparently, Dean Smith wanted to say something to Scott during that free throw. "11 minutes to go in the first half. A double post offense with Shackelford outside and getting it deep now to Alcindor. Alcindor loses the ball on the court to Charlie Scott, whose quick hands pick it up. He rifles it across, and Miller or Grubar can't hold it. Did you notice how quickly Warren and Allen reacted that time defensively? What would normally be a 2-on-1 fast break turned into a real tough 1-on-1 situation, with an advantage that the offense seemingly had disappearing just because of the speed of those 2 defensive men. And a foul's on Bunting, his second.
UCLA offensively have been pitching their forwards toward the lane. They've been moving in and out of the high-low post. They'll move Nielsen or Lynn on the high-low post, take the screen around it, then he'll release and go to the forward position.
Shot is missed, and Larry Miller rebounds it. This is virtually the same team that the Tar Heels put into the tournament last year, into the semifinals, with the exception of Charlie Scott, who's a sophomore. A long one out to the left corner man as Larry Miller has moved inside. You feel that Miller has an opportunity with his fine shooting ability to take this high percentage shot. And Rusty Clark puts it up and in. And that brings it up to a 13-11 count. Well, the Tar Heels have certainly found out that anything inside 6 feet is almost sudden death with Alcindor standing there. So they go to the artillery, lob the shells over. I believe I said 13-11. The score is 13-12. 1 point separates these two. Here's a shot from the corner. It's good by Shackelford, who destroyed Houston last night. 15-12.
Ball game number 41, Joe Brown replacing Bill Bunting.
Bunting goes out of the lineup, and Joe Brown comes in for the Tar Heels. Number 41, Joe Brown, 6'5" junior from Valdez, North Carolina. Miller chased by Shackelford. As he goes down, a whistle, and he traveled with the ball. And he grits his teeth and heads back down court. That's the 10th turnover by the Tar Heels. The Bruins have 4. It's a 15-12 count. 9 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first half. Into Alcindor, perfect position. 17-12, and he has 7 points. Full pressure defense here now. Have to hurry, only have 10 seconds. It's stolen by Lucius Allen. And there's a held ball on Allen. He was being guarded. All he was doing was dribbling, making no progress in, and it's a 5-second count. Charles Foudy from the Ohio Valley. And Johnny Wooden is not beefing at the official on that call. He knew it was a perfect call. He was telling Lucius Allen, come on, move toward the bucket. Tap goes to UCLA. 17-12. Into Alcindor, and again he gets position on Clark and pours it through. 19 for UCLA, 12 for Carolina. And Alcindor has 9. Beautiful move by Scott. However, it's batted away and picked up by Mike Warren. What a pass! And a perfect block. Boy, this is real basketball in this championship final. It'll be out of bounds to Tar Heels. Nielsen caused that action. That's Dean Smith, a former Kansas star. His team his team won, I should say, in 1952 and was runner-up in 53 when he was a player there. A four-corner offense with Larry Miller in at the high post. Just roves back and forth against the UCLA zone that just switches with the flip of the ball from side court to side court. Miller gets it to Clark, takes that shot, and it's blocked, this time by Alcindor. Perfect timing. Vogler goes in. Vogler, number 20, 5'11" sophomore from Flushing, New York, going in for Brown. Seven minutes and 45 seconds to go in this first half. Larry Miller trying to get a one-on-one situation, but every time he gets the ball in there, two men are always on him. Here's a one-on-one, but it's a big one. Alcindor forcing him to the left, and the shot is missed. 19-12. UCLA in front by 7. Mike Warren's shot is up. No good. Alcindor on the rebound. Flips it up and good.
That's by Lew Alcindor.
21-12.
Let's go, Mario!
The intimidation of Alcindor's defensive ability is very obvious. There he is, 7 feet 1.5 in the UCLA Bruin official book, but in the program he's listed at 7'2". There are some who think he's taller. Shot is good by Larry Miller. Now that's what the Tar Heels want to work on. The high percentage shot that Miller can make, or the shot that Rusty Clark can make from about 10 feet. A bank shot off the board. Almost broken away. 21-14.